Hey guys, this is Art. Welcome back. It's been a while since I did a video, and especially a video that's kind of like a lifestyle kind of video. Sometimes something to that effect. Okay, now I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. But I think I figured out a way how to do it without YouTube flagging me. Because this might, it's not, here's the thing. To the average normal person, what I'm about to talk about is very simple and self-explanatory. But since it's social media, if I highlight certain words, or if it detects a certain word or two, it's going to flag it. So at first I was thinking maybe I shouldn't talk about this at all, but this has been on my mind for a while. So you know what? Let's talk about it. Okay. So first thing is that I have a professional career. I work for the government. No, I'm not no spy. I'm not a spy. I'm not a secret agent man or anything like that. I'm a civil worker. I push paperwork. Let's just keep it at that, without explaining a million and one things. And even though I work in a government office, we are handled kind of like corporate. Basically, my boss is the president of the United States. Let's just put it that way. So what happened is I had to have training recently. Now, the funny thing about this is that this training is technically it's redundant in a lot of ways, but it's also how can I put it? It's common sense. But we all know a lot of people don't do that. So that's fine. So basically what it is, it's about genders. We had a training on genders. And that's the best way I can describe it without this getting flagged. So what happened is, it was an animation kind of style video that they did about a person named Mark. One day he comes to the office and decides that his name is now, and basically says, instead of Mark, he is now Mary. We all to refer to Mark as Mary from now on. Okay? Now, the way how they did it was so over the top, and it technically reduced the message it's trying to do into, it became a parody of its own self, in my opinion. But basically, Mary works at the office. Mary's still being called Mark. Then all of a sudden, in the break room, a couple of the people are chatting away, and they're saying, I'm not comfortable with Mark anymore. Mark is still Mark. I don't like what Mark is going through. Blah, blah. And you could understand the ish. And the supervisor was like, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not comfortable with it. And then one of the persons, it's like, it's Mary. It's Mary. It's Mary. It doesn't matter how you feel, this person is Mary. Okay. All right. Mary hears this, and then she goes off, and then she's wondering whether or not she should file an official complaint. Okay. All right. And she decides to do a formal complaint. And basically, that was the end of the video, the training video. Now, given that synopsis of this, there's some problems. Let's say, now let's put it in real life. Now, before I go any further, I know this sounds kind of weird. It sounds like I'm not put together, but it's like trying to find, I know the words to say, but trying to find the right words to convey a meaning without this video getting taken down. Even though it's a somewhat positive thing. Okay, so here's the thing. First, I'll give you my own personal viewpoints. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care of what you like. Okay? Now, if you decide that you like certain things that's kind of super off the wall crazy, then I might have to like cut you out, you know, kind of thing. Because I'm not into that kind of thing. But the thing is that I don't care what your religion is. I don't care who you are. The only thing I care about is that if you're a decent human being and you treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's the only thing I deal. That's my viewpoint on this. Okay? Some of my friends will say, I don't have a problem with that, or people with alternative lifestyles, but I don't want it in my face. Okay, now they have every right to have that viewpoint, but then again, it's in your face. If a person has an alternative lifestyle, it's in your face. And because it is that person is what that person is. It doesn't matter what religious aspect you have, it's still the same person. Now, so to speak. Some of my friends be like, I said, well, what if that person lives in your neighborhood and your children ask why this person has this that's different from you? What would you do? Well, I talk about it then. But the problem is that it's in their face. So, since it's in their face, what you gonna do? Shelter people from it? I don't understand. But please, anybody who's watching this, help me understand that viewpoint. Okay? Or maybe I'm just too accepting of everything. Or maybe I'm super tolerant of everything. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. But anyway, so we had to have a staff meeting on this training. And that's when things got really off the wall crazy. And they said everybody watched the training. Everybody verified we watched the training and everything else. And then I said, and then when my boss, she asked, does anybody have any questions about this or anything like this? And you know what? I raised my hand. And you know, and some people's like, oh, snaps. Oh, snapsalicious. Mr. Warren, Art, he's going to go off on something. Oh, my gosh. Let's grab that popcorn. And they said, well, Art, what's going on? I said, you know, this training sucks. This is totally and utterly BS. Which I said the full word. Try not to get flagged for something else as well. And my boss, one of my supervisors, Art, that's not professional. I'm saying, okay, you said it's not professional, but you make me watch a video that wasn't professional. It was off the wall, cartoony. It's all hella boss. And I said hella boss. Because I said, since some people some people like to speak Disney. Since some people like to speak Disney, let me say things in Disney. That was the most fudged up thing I ever watched. And sometimes I watch some crazy, I'll tell you, I do watch some crazy TV shows, but dang, that training was the most fudged up thing. And I mean, I was like, what the messy mess is this? So I said, number one, I'm going to tell you something. Now, some people might know this about our office and some people might not. But guess what? Some people are very religious in our office. Some people are. Some people study. Some people worship Islam. Some people are hardcore Christians. And think about this. You wear your religion on your sleeve. So here's a question. How in the world you going to say that you can treat this person with dignity and respect without your religion taking effect? Because one of my coworkers, even though this person's not really religious, but we had conversation and he said, this is a freak of nature. It's fruity. And I'm like, how do you explain? How are you going to do this? See, here's the thing. And I know some of you say some really off-the-wall things. I heard you guys say some. You might say, I might say some off-the-wall things. Yeah, and that's true. I do say some off-the-wall things at times. Because I say my name is Mr. Inappropriate. But some of the things you guys say, but I just say it just for shock value or because of a joke or whatever. But some people have their use their religion as part of that. So here's a question. Now, I said some people in this office says I don't care about that, but I don't want him in my face. So let's say, for example, if Mark is in my office and he becomes married, it's in your face. You know some people are going to have something to say about it. You know it. You know some people are going to have something to say about it. You know some people are going to have something to do about it. You know that. So here's a question. What are you going to do about it? Plus, another thing, and the most important thing, is that if Mary wants to be called Mary, she, her, pronouns kind of stuff, you got to give us time to assimilate that. You got to give us time to to get acclimated to that. You got to give us time. It's not like you're married and next day I'm like, oh, he's married now. You know, I might say call you the wrong name or the wrong pronoun. That kind of stuff happens when you do it very quickly, or you expect changes to happen like that. You got to give us time. Now, say for example, after a year, if you still calling Mary Mark, then I understand. Then that's an actual problem. But in like 2 to 3 weeks or a month or two, come on now. Come on. Come on. Woo! I feel like Ric Flair in this piece. And it's hot. And it's cold. And it's hot in my car. But anyway, as you can see what I'm talking about. And the hilarious part was my management didn't have anything to say. There was no answer to that. Because two of my managers, they worship Islam, and to them that's an abomination. One of them is a hardcore Christian, and that's an abomination. 3 to 4 people in my office, they go to church, pray every day, and all this other stuff. And to them, that's an abomination. So what are you going to do? Good question. So, now I'll tell you the truth, I don't have a problem with this. Now, if someone wants to be that's great. Find your true self and stick to your true self. That's all I matter. That's all I care about. As long as you're happy, that's cool. But the thing is, don't jump on my back if if I screw it up? Now, like I said, after a certain amount of time, I would say, you know what? You gotta give us time, girl. You gotta give us time. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you a quick story. I encountered something like this before. Years ago, about 10-something years ago. This one girl, I was talking to this one girl over the phone. The problem was, I didn't know she was a girl because she had a funky name. She had a funky ass name, but everything suggested that she's not who she says she is. Okay? And I called her Sir. And this lady flipped the hell out. She flipped out. Man, she flipped out. She called my boss. One of the same bosses as an Islamic person who worships Islam. That same person. And I had to get pulled to have a talk with this person. And he looked up and said, and he's like, look, ma'am, has he ever seen what you look like? I said, and we had to have a three-way conversation. And I said, ma'am, do I know what you look like? And this was 10 years ago, and she goes, no. So what makes you think I know exactly who you are if I don't know what you look like? The only thing I know is there's a voice. And so, after that, I was like, this is BS, and I just walked off. Did I get reprimanded for that? Not exactly. I got to talk to, and they said, you should go to sensitivity training. Okay, fine. That's when I started studying this stuff on my own, because I studied this on my own. Study the process. Watch a lot of YouTubers who discuss their progress. And I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting and stuff like that. But anyway, years later, that same person came to my office, and one of my coworkers who retired, he's like, hey, Mr. Wall. I go, what? Remember this person? I'm like, no. Who is this person? And she goes, oh, you're Mr. Warren? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, do I know you? She goes, I'm this person. I'm like, oh, hey. And she goes, you know what? After that little incident, I kind of thought about it, and I shouldn't have flipped out that much because you never saw me before and everything else. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, is that it? Okay, cool. Then what happens? She talked to one of my coworkers who had some kind of health issue, and he retained water, and the stomach was bloated. She said, oh my God, he must be like 9 months pregnant, and boom. Yeah, see, yeah, you can say dumb stuff too. But anyway. Woo, man, I tell you, what a life. But anyway, I felt the need to talk about this because, you know what? If someone wants to be whatever they want to be, let them be. And true, some people say, I don't like this because it's in my face. Guess what? It's in your face already. It's in your face. Just by them existing, it's in your face. Even if you don't like certain people's lifestyle, and believe me, I didn't like some people. I like, to tell you the truth, half the people I grew up, I didn't like their lifestyle. Drinking on the weekend, drugging on the weekends, and doing all nasty stuff. You know what I'm saying? Without being too graphic or anything like that. I didn't like that either. But guess what? I still was there for them, and I still was their friend. I didn't discriminate against them. So I guess the best thing I'm trying to say is that, hey, we shouldn't really discriminate against people based upon what they are. You shouldn't, because that's wrong as hell. And that was my final thoughts on that. So I tell you what, if you watch this video to the end, thanks a lot for watching it. I really appreciate it. And if you want to write down there what you believe, or whatever, if you agree with me, disagree with me, what you believe or whatever, that's fine too. And of course, that will make sense. So with that being said, thanks so much for watching. I'm in a traffic jam right now, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna jam some tunes. This is my commute, y'all.